Ideating is an important step in the design process. We can quickly and efficiently generate ideas to help us select the best path forward for our project. In this video, I'll be altering the form of a cylinder to find a design that I like. In a real-world scenario, this is an integral step in the design process to show your client or the person you're working with a variety of options so that you can include their input early and often in the design process. It also helps in generating ideas and making sure that we're picking the best design to go forward with. So here is sort of example of the page that we will end up with, and I'm going to just start by drawing everything by hand, laying out a couple of cylinder wireframes, and then altering the form by adding or subtracting, maybe pushing out certain proportions or pulling them in to change the form. So to get started, I actually like to draw not one at a time, but sort of all of them together from the sort of, base form to adding on the different alterations and then line weight and so forth. So we can start by just placing down a couple of straight lines. 5 should do. And I'll do a top ellipse and a bottom ellipse for each of them. Great. So we have pretty similar ellipses. Some of them are maybe a little bit larger as they're sort of going, and maybe that'll influence the shape that I design for the sketch. So yeah, we can start with maybe something in the middle. Maybe the most basic one is to kind of do some sort of, just straight cylinder, right? It's always good to get a base down. But we can maybe change something to it. Maybe we can add like another sort of layer. Maybe it goes into this sort of, bottleneck up at the top. So we can add stuff to it. We can also bring in the proportions a bit. So if I drew another ellipse sort of halfway through somewhere, we might be able to bring in the proportions. Similarly, we can, extend the proportions and go out. This is all quite angular so far. So why don't we do something a little bit more fluid? We can maybe do, why don't we just do like a nice sort of curve, kind of like a jar shape. And you can throw an ellipse in here to kind of help guide maybe. Maybe this has like a nice altered rim where it's sort of like a jug or something. A pitcher. Maybe we see a little bit of a handle kind of coming through the end. All right. So something kind of curved inwards, or outwards and inwards. Maybe we can have a couple different, look like we can modify that in several ways. Maybe we can have a straight sort of bottom, and it sort of curves inward like this. And maybe it also has another bottle, or maybe we round the top kind of thing, maybe something like that. That's nice. We can also add, or subtract rather. Maybe this thing is hollow. We can add another ellipse in there. And it goes all the way down. So we can add in some simple hatching to show when things are column. We can also add in, so that's helping in sort of defining the form. We can also add some contour lines to show the sort of sides, the faces of it. Yeah. Maybe what we'll do here is actually a total cross section. So we'll cut it in half, and that'll be our form. And we're not really doing any sort of, designing here as far as the the object that we're drawing. This is more of an exercise, but this can apply to any other design work you're doing as far as iterating is concerned. So I'm adding some line weight with my pen. Maybe I can do it with the Papermate Flare to add some line weight. Okay, so we've got sort of general forms everywhere. Maybe we can add some drop shadows. So a drop shadow for this guy will be cut in half. This drop shadow will be, the largest sort of ellipse down below. Same with this one. So they have to be a little bit larger. And I don't mind actually drawing over existing drawings, having some interesting overlaps. That's actually quite fun. I'll try to sort of solve what's going on here a little bit better, just so that it's not so crowded. Maybe we can do that with a little bit of the Papermate Flare. We can add in the Papermate Flare as our outlines and our overlaps. Again, I'm not tracing, I'm redrawing these lines so that they feel nice and fresh. And I'm just doing this on copy paper. A really good, you don't need to use your good marker paper for this. It's totally fine. Bringing back the ballpoint pen and just dropping down some parallel, nicely drawn hatch shadows. Try to keep them as consistent as possible. And, picking one of the ellipses that has been drawn and then going for it. You can see my wrist is pretty much doing all the work here. Or, sorry, my fingers are doing all the work here. My wrist is locked up. You can see here that's the sort of half shape that we had sort of taken away from it. But we can add some line weight there, actually. Make this even more obvious. And it's looking good, but I kind of want to also add just some visual connection to some of these groupings. So I'll add a vignette, a backdrop for those three, and we'll also add another one for these two. You want to make sure that you're trying actually not to make these very you want to divide. Right now this is kind of dividing it right in half, and it doesn't look the best. I think what I'll do is actually increase this a little bit, just so it is not so tangential with any points. And I'm going to add some color, so it's going to look a little bit more tidied in a second. But that's the main idea for taking some base forms, in this case a cylinder, and doing some simple things to them by increasing some proportions, decreasing other ones, help find a form that you like. That's fine. And we can grab maybe like this purple here. That would look good here. So again, just outlining some of the shapes we have here. There we go. So as you can see, you can, sort of pull in the sort of proportions to change it. You can push them out. They could be angular or rounded. Yeah, so that's pretty good. We've got a nice little page here. And this is a good page that you can do to try to come up with some more concepts, help you in personally communicating the form back to yourself, but also to others, and is a great step in early on in the design process to get as many ideas as you can and thinking about some of the three-dimensionality before you commit to a specific design to further your project.